Yeah, folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to our Moon Day live stream, our Kerbal Moon Day live stream. We are once again taking on space instead of just taking up space. The main screen turned on. We had a few things, all on timers, that we've got to take care of today. How's everyone doing? Hopefully the weekend treated you well. Had a good time on Saturday with you guys. And I still think maybe next Saturday could be Dwarf Fortress unless something interrupts. I'm just trying to think of a theme, of a vibe. I mean, it's been long enough. We could play pretty like normal, but it would still be nice to have a bit of a story to go with. So we will see. Yeah, it's been too long. Apparently we're going back to some of the classics here with Kerbal Space Program and then maybe some DF. Man, if I start playing Civ on Wednesdays, you know we're going retroactive over here. Let's delve deeply and greedily, exactly. If you guys watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds last season, I don't know if I've watched any Star Trek Strange New Worlds, actually. I really got to get my butt in gear. I'm behind on so many TV series and things. But which Civ is a good question. You know my favorite is 4. 5's pretty good. 6 got a lot of appeal, and we got to go back to 7. Also, Aura and Millennia and Humankind as quasi-Civs would be good. Endless Legend 2, we didn't play the demo. There's so many things to play. Meanwhile, I'm still having fun with Borderlands. Other than the fact that it does have some performance issues for certain people, although all my performance issues have gone away since a little mini patch came out that changed, I think, how the shaders recompile. I think that was the issue. I think mid-gameplay, sometimes there's some shader recompiling that would cause some hitching. It's been smooth sailing for me, but not for everyone. But other than that, man, oh man, that's been a heck of a lot of fun. U5? Yeah, when does that come out? I don't remember. Do we have a release date for U5? November 4th, that's right. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to do footage for it before then. I don't know anything about that at this point. We shall see. Anywho, space! So, I have let the game run for 300 plus days. Okay, I may have just run a whole bunch of times 100,000 accelerations over here. That includes babysitting our little science lab. So we are in orbit around Duna, Mars, effectively, over here. We got 2 ships over here. We've got what was called our Duna lander, but I relabeled it right now to Duna Returner, because that's in fact what it does. And in fact, it can't land on Duna anymore because someone went and ripped off all the parachutes, the landing gear, and any other crap we didn't need. In fact, I think we ripped out all of our science equipment too. Yep, that's all hollow to get as little weight for the return trip. Now this cannot actually return to Kerbin, like can't land on Kerbin, has no parachute and no heat shield. Our goal is going to put us in orbit around Kerbin and then do some sort of rendezvous mission to pick up Penny, NL, and Ilarias over here. That's our engineer and our pilot. Our scientist that we did do this mission with is parked in our science lab, along with someone else. If we switch over here, there was at the end of last stream, we didn't have a signal from here, but enough time passed by that, well, technically 2 things happened, I think. But you can see the Kerbal Space Program. No, I guess that would be the only thing. Sorry, not the Kerbal Space Program, Kerbal Space Center, but yes, but also Kerbin as itself. Kerbin and Duna are getting close together, so we had a signal. When we're opposite ends, we couldn't quite reach a signal. Now we're close enough that we've got it. So I was able to do the science transmission, and I filled up the science thing, I think 3 times, and transmitted it each time. And we still have tons of experiments here to crunch. So over the years, we're going to be getting plenty of passive science from this, which is great. Our bottleneck is going to be cash money, which means doing more missions, which sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, over here, we've got Eastern Spirit and Enoch. Enoch is the one who landed on Duna with our lander, and then we transferred things over here, and Eastern Spirit took a ride in here the entire way. So they're just sitting around doing science things in orbit around Duna, possibly for the rest of their lives. In addition to that, so Ara says, time for a satellite network. We do actually have a satellite that we have gone to design to go to Duna, to ensure a more robust connection going forward. But we had to wait for a transfer window anyway. So that's all going to happen similarly. In theory, I think the transfer window from both should be pretty similar, but the satellite to Duna is going to go in about 50 days, and our return from Duna is going to start in 4 days. We also have a solar satellite mission going on. That's this orbit over here. This is just for a mission, and I think we're doing an orbital adjustment. You know what? I think it completed it. Didn't I? Were we going to do an adjustment, but it auto-completed the mission because of approximations? No, position a satellite in specific orbit at a time. No. Okay, so that is still chooching away. So in 275 days, we're doing some sort of adjustment to this thing. Oh, I think it's going to come over here and do a bit of a prograde burn or something of that nature. But that's not going to be for a while yet. So the next thing that's going on is indeed just the return from Duna. So coming back over here to Duna, we're going to switch back over to our returner. And in theory, before doing all these vessel switches, you should really quick save. But in this case, I had saved right before we started the stream. So if it had crashed, we weren't going to lose anything. So I'm going to say warp to next. It's going to warp to the next alarm, which is this return to Duna. We've already got the maneuver planned. It's a 648 meter per second burn. It's going to take 33 seconds to do the burn. And that's looking all right. So actually, yeah, no, we'll do this one sort of more or less by hand. So we'll warp next. Whee! Look away from the blinking! Oh, apparently there's still some EVA science to be done, but oh well. 1 minute away. There we go. No longer time warping. Perfect. All right. Delete and close the alarm. Let's do stability assist here. We're going to face the maneuver node, which is the blue node here, which is basically just a prograde burn. And in fact, might be exactly prograde once we get there. Oh, I forgot. We've got, there you go. Our regular SAS can do the lock onto maneuver node thing over here. So that's, Alaria's is experienced enough to be able to do that. So with 16-ish seconds, 16 and a half seconds to the node, we're going to want to initiate the burn. But automate this. Did you know a new black and white style game is coming out today? Is that the one? It's got like an F in the name. I think I've got a code or I've got something in my email box about it. Seconds. Let's do needle warp. Slow down. Node in 19, 17, go. All right, we are go for burn. Oh, look at this sexy little beast. Oh, yeah. That's the DM. That's the one. Yes. It's on my radar. I think I've got a code or something. I do have to go and check that out. Whee! It's fun with the camera shifts. And our apoapsis has gone to a negative number, which means we are leaving Duna. We're continuing this burn, though, to do our reentry and stop. All right. All that good enough, especially for manual stuff. So there's us breaking Duna orbit, and we can see. So Duna is going, from this point of view, is going to the right side of the screen. I realize my camera will be mirrored for you guys, so I'm pointing the wrong way. But it's going out towards the right side. We are leaving Duna out the left, which tells us we are going to end up in an orbit that is lower than the Duna orbit. Which is... yeah, do we have a target set for... I guess we do have a target set for that, so we're going to get close there. We'll probably have to do an a corrective burn after, but it's going to be okay. I have to sneeze. Oh. Wow. That must have been at least 15 delta V of sneezing right there. Okay, our next maneuver on our timer isn't for 44 days, and this escape's going to happen in 2 days. So I think we're just going to time warp to our escape over here. And then we'll... What the hell is this red line? Oh, is this like maybe like a broken signal line or something? Okay. Oh, we're going to have a brief encounter with Ike. Or Ike if you prefer. Oh, how interesting. Actually, hold on. We can do a crew report from high Duna space, which I'll transmit immediately. And now we just transited. We're now in Ike in space. So again, crew report. Transmit. And we'll do an EVA as well. Oh, what a nice little bonus. Oh, I remember to install the community crowdsourced science, so we've got extra flavor text for these, which I actually probably could have read in the last pop-up. I was forgetting that was a thing. Gazing at Duna, you wonder whether life could... This is mission control. Situation nominal. Over. So grab that. Oh, and we can do an EVA science experiment. That's right. All right, let's drop the wing nut. Oh, do you not have... Hold on. Do you not have a science kit on you? Did we not bring one with us? What is this? EVA repair kit. That's our science experiment there. Oops. Did not? I'm confused. Oh, did I go the wrong way around? Oh! No. Yeah, up! This is my pilot. Right, I use the auto EVA button. I need to EVA with my scientist who has a science kit. I think the pilot can do the EVA experiment, but didn't have it on there. And of course, it makes more sense that our scientist does it. Let's try this again. There it is! You spin me right around, baby. Whee! We had our RCS on, so we didn't counterspin this time around. Keep. And grab and board. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is transmit this science, just in case something happens to us on the way back. I mean, I'm sure we'll be fine. Oh, I think I'll have to do the incomplete science upload. If it's not... Yeah, allow partials on. Okay, so that's okay. It's going to keep trying to send it. It's going to complain about not having enough power, but then it'll finish the send eventually. Power, not enough power. If I go into a little time warp, it makes it slightly less annoying. There we go. That's done.
Hey, Quill, pay attention. There's a new subscriber.
Hey, I'm Arrow. Thanks for the sub. Make sure to link your Discord to Twitch and join us over on the Discord channel. If you want to. I mean, there's no pressure. But all the cool kids are doing it. And also, they let me hang out too. So I appreciate that. Okay. So that's all the science we've collected has been transmitted, just in case something happens to these guys. So we'll do another quick save. Time warp through here. So that's us leaving Ikey. And boom. Okay, so now we're back on our escape from Duna. That was a nice little bonus. What a lovely little treat. Is this us communicating to there? Because it does have a relay, but then maybe not having a signal.
Will, pay attention. There's a new subscriber.
Now it's broken completely, yeah. Haonmd. Or Haon MD, maybe? Now you know you're part of the club because I'm mispronouncing your name. Hey, thanks for the sub. And as a reminder, yeah, you can also do it through YouTube membership or Patreon subscription there. That'll also get you on the Discord, although you do have to link your account. All right, crew report. I guess we'll send that too. Oh, all right. I guess we'll bring that one home with us. Okay, so now we are in orbit of the sun. And yeah, Kerbin is our target, and our closest approach is there, but I'm not sure that we're actually doing the rendezvous. So this could be a place for a little bit of manual adjustment. What's nice is it's basically happening at the opposite side of the orbit from where we are. So it's theoretically optimal for a few different things. So let's say we go retrograde. You know what? I'll use this just because the buttons are much more... I mean, we've got words instead of symbols. So retrograde. We lock this in. We're watching the separation. I'm going to give one tick. There we go. The separation is getting closer, 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 closer. Oh, and then I think climbing again. So retrograde prograde is only going to do so much. Now let's do... And we could just use our MechJeb, and we might. Let's see what happens if we do a little radio plus. There we go. Now we are going to properly encounter Kerbin. But we're still going to be pretty far away. It's this, I don't know, it's like extra SAS. I don't know why they called it smartass over here. But it's the exact same thing as me hitting... so if I turn this off and I use these buttons, it's the same as using these. But instead of symbols, we can just look at words. So radio plus to get us closer. So if we look here, there's our periapsis relative to Kerbin. And we're a little high, but we can adjust that too. So let's do a little more radio plus. Excellent. I'm just doing a single shift over here because a tiny bit of thrust is going to have a huge difference at this range. And we are going to be entering counterclockwise-ish, which is what we're looking for. Should a little closer here. Now, we are a little high. What we'd want to do if we want to fix our altitude and come in a little bit more in line, we could fix it on one of the ascending, descending nodes. I think I'm going to just go ahead and see what happens if I go and burn normal minus, which means downwards. Depending on our orbit, it may or may not do the thing I want here. Yep, there we go. There we go. It's going to bring it down. Again, this is one tick of shift. Barely. Barely. And a Kerbal opened a window and sneezed is what's happening here. We want to go equatorial, although the moon might get in our way because that happens sometimes. Just because it'll make for a slightly nicer return. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now let's go back to radio plus, which seemed to be a good way to bring our periapsis in. There we are. The moon. Oh, I don't think... Oh, it's still descending. And it's rising a little bit again. That's probably just related to rounding things. Hang on. Let's do another normal minus burn to bring it down again. Because we weren't quite bang on, and now that difference is becoming more visible. Now, the one thing is, if I did come in above the elliptical of, say, the moon's orbit, it would make it less likely that we get an encounter with it, which is pretty good. I'm not convinced Radial Plus is going to do much for us anymore. Let's see. Nope, it's actually going to grow it, which isn't what we want. What if I did a little retrograde at this point? Also, the moon's in the way again, because of course it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoa! That's happening fast. Whoa! What's this periapsis at? Okay, so technically... Oh! I forget. I do not want to plan... Oh, that was close. I do not want to plan an atmospheric reentry, because this ship cannot survive atmospheric reentry. But this is pretty good. About 100K periapsis is going to be wonderful for us to get to this periapsis and then do a retrograde burn and just put us in orbit around Kerbin and then wait for the actual ship that's supposed to bring us home. You still need to brake. Don't forget that. Low orbit needs a lot of delta V. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. If we went in a super high orbit and then we were in retrograde, it wouldn't take a lot of delta V for us to get into an orbit whatsoever. But it'll be even more efficient here. Now, I don't know if we'll have enough delta V to circularize, but we don't need to do that. All we need is enough delta V to do a retrograde burn here that just closes the loop so we're not in escape anymore. That's going to be easy peasy. It's going to be great. And we still got 1800 delta V, which is, I mean, I'm sure is more than enough. I mean, if nothing else, it's enough that we're not going to leave. Probably it's enough for us to be in a relatively, like, modest orbit around Kerbin. And yeah, we could do a little bit of air braking. That's a good point. Like, let's say we rented at 50K or 60K and just slowed ourselves down with a little bit of air. The problem with that is we have to make sure not to use all of our fuel on a retrograde burn, because at some point on the other side of our orbit, we'd have to do a little bit of prograde to raise us out of the atmosphere, which may or may not save us delta V overall. So, Sorrowful Sky says they hear buzzing, like from the audio. Let us know if anyone else is having an issue like that, but I'm not catching any background sound on my microphone. Don't hear any buzzing. No, okay. Quick save. Now, it's going to take us a while to re-enter over here. Is that at year 4? Hold on. This is us over here. Okay, no. I'm seeing something else here, but yeah, so another few hundred days. So our next thing we're going to do, it's our satellite to Duna. That is the next thing. So we'll save. Then we're going to satellite to Duna. We're going to switch to this vehicle. Boom. Occasional buzzing. I wonder what's picking up on that. So this is our satellite that we're going to park around Duna to make sure we've got a good clear signal around Duna. In 42 days, we're going to be doing 1,000 meter per second burn, which we have enough in this stage to do that. We've got lots of fuel in this, so we're not worried at all about that. So I think what I can do is just click warp next. Whee! Voomp, 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 voomp. It's like the mic is speaking. Oh, maybe I'll just bring down my little volume here. Maybe that's where the buzzing. All right. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to warn before the screen. I should have gone to map mode. But we're coming in now. And done. Now, because this is a satellite, what I should do is, and you know, it's all automated, is we go into MechJeb. We'll use, say, the maneuver node planner. It's already planned. We're going to say execute next node, which I could have done to handle our time warp at the same time. But hands off, it's going to aim itself to the maneuver node. It might do a tiny bit of time warping because it's going to start the maneuver at about 22 seconds to the node. So it might warp just a tiny bit, but we're not very far away from it. So it'll be interesting to see what it decides. And then it'll go and do the burn. It doesn't have to stage. It's got enough fuel in this stage to do it. We intentionally over-designed. So we have lots of flexibility. Okay, it attempted time warp for a second, then immediately stopped it. And the burn should start now. Now? Off by 1 errors. I'm a programmer. Oh, hey, Jans. Well, you missed us doing our return. The crew that landed on Duna just initiated the return. They just broke Duna orbit, and in 200 days, they will be encountering Kerbin once again. Meanwhile, from Kerbin, this is our satellite that's going to Duna to help set up a bit of a communication network for future stuff. Oh, you're right. We have to set an alarm for the re-entry on the other ship. Well, probably what I'm going to do now that this is done, I'm probably just going to switch back to the other ship because this isn't going to need input for a good long time. Um, 4 days. Actually, what I'll do is I'm going to time warp out of this one. Since the other one still has tons of time. Because its next thing is going to be the encounter Duna. There we go. Although it's not actually encountering it right now. So what I'm going to do with MechJeb and the maneuver planner, I'm going to put in a fine-tune closest approach to target. And just ask it to do this. Oh, don't execute, though. Abort node execution. So it's going to do a little bit of a burn there, which is going to get it closer. And then I'm going to set an alarm for this maneuver. Create an alarm. Maneuver. Add alarm. There we go. And then we're going to quick save and switch back to the Duna returner, which doesn't have a maneuver planned, which is fine. But what I'm going to do for it is I'm going to set an alarm for the sphere of influence change. There it is. So the next thing is our satellite is going to do a bit of a maneuver to fine-tune its approach to Duna. And then almost certainly we'll set the alarm for the sphere of influence change for that. And then the sphere of influence change of our Duna returner is going to be the next thing. So let's switch over. Save. Are you planning eventually for Moon or Minmus or Duna mining? I don't know. We may. We've done a mining mission before, but admittedly not very many. So maybe. Okay, so as far as I know, the next thing, unless there's something else I've forgotten, it's for this to go and do its little maneuver. So now I'm going to tell it to execute next node. Again, this is run by a satellite, so I want to do everything as much as possible computerized rather than manual on this one. So we've told it it's going to align to the maneuver node. It's going to fast forward to the maneuver node location, which is over there. That's in 81 days. Time warp should start any second now. Come on, you're aligned. I think it's still trying to nudge itself. There it is. Would it be worth swapping out the 2 Duna scientists to get them leveled? Did you install that mod? I didn't install the mod. We did tweak the Duna scientists are level 2 and level 3. So they're good. We do have the option, the difficulty option set up where they level instantly. Because I didn't want to do a bus trip. That's what I've done before, is I create a bunch of scientists. I put them all on a big bus. I do a Luna flyby. I exit the sphere of influence of Kerbin, then turn around and come right back home. It gets everyone to level 2. All right, so this ship is about to do its corrective burn. Although this is I should have actually checked to see exactly what it was doing, because I guess, let me stop the burn completely. This was putting us with a target of like 200 periapsis, which is okay. Good. We didn't do it all the way. That's good, because I actually want to be in a relatively high orbit. I'm also want us to be in a polar orbit, and I'm gonna have to plan the maneuver for this manually. MechJeb might have the ability to do something like that, so I'm gonna create a maneuver, but instead of using the maneuver planner, I will use the maneuver node editor, because clicking and dragging, because I want to look here. And it's going to be hard to do that and clicking and dragging on the maneuver. So we're going to just use this. So what I'd like to do is go polar. So either we got to come up the north or come up the south. Either way, it's the same. Let's do, so we're going to plan a little bit of normal. Is it actually going to remove? Wow, okay. That is a really minor burn. This is going to be so delicate. I'll go ahead and derate the engine to the max. So that's the sort of plan. Again, it could be a little higher, but let's worry about that. Maybe never, I don't know. So this engine here, I'm going to go and like limit its thrust to like 1% of its normal thrust. Execute this burn. It's aligning. Oh, it's going to have time warp for a day because of where I clicked, which is fine. All right, time warping. Okay, time warp done. About a 2-second burn at 1% thrust. Not too shabby. All right, great. Good. Come back over here. Let's reset our engine. And then we're going to set an alarm clock. Create alarm. Sphere of influence change in 166 days. Okay. So the next thing is our Duna returner. You know, it's kind of fun to like be doing all these different activities at once. So the next thing that's going to happen is the Duna returner is going to enter the sphere of influence of Kerbin on its relatively low periapsis of 115 meters, 1,000 meters. So 115 kilometers. 1% throttling, low vanilla KSP. Oh yeah, if you were using real engines, a lot of these don't have like a thrust throttle option. Smallest burn I've seen. Yeah, I mean, it was less than a 1 meter per second delta V change, 0.8. But it's so far away that, yeah, that's tiniest change, huge snowball effect. Okay, let's go and time warp to the next thing. Look, there's our sat lifter and us almost crossing orbits. And there's Kerbin, and we're going to intersect it somewhere over here. Wonder if we can see home. It's somewhere over there. Yeah, not really a hope. Oh, that's interesting.
Wanted to say thank you. Been watching your channel for over 10 years. The first videos from you I watched were your Unity tutorials, which in part got me into programming and game development. I wish you all the best.
Well, close. Okay, you don't do anything crazy. Nerd Cookie, thank you very much. Jeez, Sencha got me a bottle of whiskey yesterday, but the next one's definitely on you. Holy cow, thank you so much. And yeah, the programming tutorials. I do miss doing the programming tutorials. They were a lot of work. And I still do programming. I still develop my own little utilities for my own personal use all the time. But like, I don't know if I'm qualified to teach. I feel so rusty, but I miss it. Well, thank you very much for that. That is really kind. Okay. Let's go. And now we are in a sphere of influence. Wait, did we just pass through it? It warped through the encounter. Why did it do that? I mean, I could revert to the quick save right beforehand, but we could also try something kind of cray-cray. And that is, from here... No, this would be... I'm going to revert to the latest save. I was distracted. I think I assumed I was, when I was time warping, that I hadn't quite done the encounter yet. Or maybe the alarm clock? Did I not set the alarm clock right in the first place? I don't know. Time warp's one hell of a drug. Yeah. Let's go ahead and reload from our last quick save, which hopefully was before this burn. Yeah, you're good. Okay. Let me switch to this vessel. Is it possible that the alarm time is wrong on this encounter? Well, the time warp would still stop it. I mean, at this point, I don't even have to do the warp 2. What I can do is do this. Because I was a little confused. It was like, oh, that's weird. That was our closest encounter, I thought, but then... Yep, no, I just got confused. Wait, did we do the flyby at, like, super low altitude, though? Hang on. Okay, there's our sphere of influence change. Because normally when you're time warping, it drops to time 50. Is there just a weird thing with the alarm? When this is going at 100,000, that switched to a year and a thing. Look. Encounter in 5 days, encounter in 5 days. I mean, that's not a rounding error. Hang on. Well, hang on. Let me do another little save here. The manual name. If I just time warp, is it going to skip us past the planet? Do. Look! It skipped us past the encounter. While time warping, it doesn't recognize it's off by 1 year error. Okay, so that's not my fault. This was called Quick Save 3, but nope. What's with these stupid names? Is it this one? No, that's from a different game altogether. Why? How is this not ordered correctly? Okay, let me just... Okay. The hold F9 just brings you the latest, like, F5 autosave. Huh. Yeah, no, the save game UI does suck. Okay. So, we can't trust... The time warping is breaking the encounter. Like, when we manually stopped the time warp, it put us on the, yep, here's you leaving Kerbin, as if you'd done your flyby. And we don't have a planned maneuver on this one at all. Oh my god, it is so whacked. Okay, just warp to here. We're going to do it by hand. At this point, it's not even the alarm clock. Because the fact that the alarm clock gets confused is more another symptom than another cause. Okay, see, it's not even doing... I don't know what... It's not going to 100,000 for the warp for some reason. And I don't know why that's happening. Okay, stop. Okay, quick save from here. Warp to here. Might be due to being at the edge of the flybit. Except, it's not like we're barely grazing Kerbin. We're coming in with a periapsis 115K. We're coming in deep in the sphere of influence. I mean, unless something has changed. Be an issue with Kraken manifesting? I mean, there's something. Okay. Any time warp at all causes it to get very confused. Okay, it thinks it's going to get there in an hour. So I'm just looking at the time over here. Okay. Periapsis, 115 kilometers. Everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, except every time it time warped, it didn't think we were getting an encounter, even though we're getting the most encounter you can get without smacking physically into the planet. Save. Very confused. Now if I like time warp, yeah, now you're not confused. You totally understand what's happening. Okay. So our next maneuver here is just add our periapsis, which is very hard to click on at this range. I guess I could just ask MechJeb to do it. I might have to, but so basically somewhere around here, we're going to create a maneuver that is just a retrograde burn. And okay, so for the record, 156 meters per second delta V, and we do have 1800 in here. 150 meters per second delta V ensures that we do not go off into the middle of nowhere anymore. That's good. So we can use the maneuver node editor. I'm just, for the sake of this, I'm going to use the maneuver planner. I mean, what I can do, I could just wait until I get closer. If we can trust the time warp. And this is a manual piloted one, right? It's not a satellite, so let's time warp to relatively close. Nah, I'm not going to do any aero braking. I'm just worried. We have so much delta V, we don't need it. There we go. So now I can click on basically the periapsis and yoink this to something vaguely circular. And we can use the maneuver node planner for this as well. Okay, we're not right at the periapsis. We could tune the time with the node thing, but there you go. something that's vaguely circular, and it's still only going to use about half the fuel in our tank to do this. Looks good to me. Quick save, because we trust nothing. Manually warp to here. I'm sorry, Quill, I can't do that. Okay there, Hal. Warp a little closer. All right. Go retrograde. So 38 seconds, so 15. About 19 seconds before the node, we go to burn. Which again is just a retrograde. I'm not even facing the node time specifically. Oh, there we go. A couple of seconds late, but that's fine. Honestly, the node was a little too early anyway. We really would have wanted to do it 19 seconds before periapsis. We're experiencing shrinkage. It's like going into a cold pool. Periapsis is shrinking slightly, which is a sign that we're doing the retrograde burn slightly too early, but barely. It's barely moving. Our burn, the fact that I burned a couple of seconds too late for the maneuver, it actually put us kind of spot on for what we're trying to do, and do it gentle. And then when the periapsis and apoapsis go to about 90 degrees from where they were before, that's mostly circular. It's 4 kilometers off. That's pretty clean. That's pretty clean. Okay, great. So you just sit there. Now we have to go and rendezvous. Because this, again, cannot re-enter. It doesn't have a heat shield. It wasn't designed for this. Honestly, it wasn't even designed to come back to Kerbin. But when we did the rendezvous with the science station that's in orbit around Duna now, we were able to transfer a bunch of fuel from the science station here. It still has plenty of fuel. It doesn't need it for anything. So we were able to fully refuel, which gave us enough to come back. But now we have to re-meet. Now, we don't have anything else. The solar satellite mission is happening in 5 days. Honestly, let's take care of these. Now, this sphere of influence change, I think, is for this ship. So I'm going to clear that. And I think both of these... Actually, that's a good question. This must be for our satellite ship, but that's going to be inaccurate in a second. Yeah, because we're about to do a maneuver, so the sphere of influence timing is going to change anyway. Although it might update automatically. But I no longer trust this. So, we have a maneuver... No, wait. We've done this maneuver. Yeah. Okay, so all we're doing is a sphere of influence change. I'm going to set a new alarm for this one, which I don't know if we can trust it, but we'll see. Create alarm. There you go. In 32 days, you're going to be entering the Duna sphere of influence, and I'll have to do some things. Okay. So now what we need to do is a ship that will go and pick up 2 Kerbals that are currently in the Duna returner. So let's go back to the Space Center. You got all the way down to a circular 70 and still had chutes, probably survive. You're probably right, because you don't really need a heat shield for returning from a slow Kerbin orbit. A low and circular Kerbin orbit, therefore it's really slow as well. You can re-enter without a heat shield, but it's a little dicey. I wouldn't want it to try. Okay, I don't know that we have a vessel that's kind of up for the job, because we need a vessel that can return 2 Kerbins. So what I'm going to do is a Mark II command pod, and I'm going to put no Kerbals in there. And this is just going to be returning home. Its job is just to go park itself near the other ship and let the Kerbals transfer over. We just need a regular parachute. That should be fine. But at this point, I want this mission to succeed so desperately that what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put 2 of the proper chutes on there. And... Right, this is a drogue, but it's too big. There's not... Yeah, there's not a nose drogue. That's okay. We're going to go with triple regular chutes. That should be fine. We're going to go and put... I think it's a 1.8. Yeah, 1.8 at the bottom over here. And then we need a decoupler the 1.8 decoupler, because this is the thing that's just returning home, like so. And then we need something to help just maneuver around in space. Is there... I won't... Nope. There we go. This. So that's gone to a 2.5 meter base. And a Poodle engine. All right. 2,600 meters delta V. Ridiculous overkill, but will give us all the orbital maneuvering we want. We're not doing docking, so we don't need RCS. Oh, I do need a probe core because I'm putting this up without a pilot. So we need a probe core. And I'm also going to put a extra battery on this, because what if we have to do a bunch of maneuvering while being eclipsed by Kerbin itself? So that should be plenty. And we are going to throw some solar panels on here. Just on the bottom part, because they can get ripped away when we enter. That's going to be okay. So I'm going to go to 3-way symmetry and do this. There we go. So this is going to be nice and sustaining in space with batteries, even on the eclipse side, to do the probular kind of shenanigans. Oh, the solar satellite node. Thank you. Let me correct that now. Let's call this Duo Rescue Mark 1. That's what I was confused about with the extra maneuver. Because I was like, no, we already did the maneuver for the that one thing. These have got to be renamed. Yeah, it's this one here. Oh my god. So yeah, because one of the reasons I was deleting it was because, oh, there's something I'm supposed to do in 5 days. And I don't want to miss that while I'm doing other things. You saying you've got science? Well, you do have a Mr. Goo canister on you. Which, sure. We're only going to get a fraction of the science. But it's fine. It has no signal. Oh, I should have put like 3 antennas on this thing. Because I think our tracking station is as upgraded as it can be. For the sake of whatever, I will create the alarm for the next maneuver. But... What? Time to build a relay satellite. How? I mean... Yeah, this is as upgraded as it can, and it's a 250 G strength. The problem is I can put a relay satellite in orbit around Kerbin, but it's not going to be 250 G strength. Build a rover with like 20 dishes on the ground. That's interesting. How come I didn't keep what I was... That's weird. Because my strongest antennas is this one. This one at 15G. So 10 of these would be 150. Let's say I put 20 of these on something, it would be 300 strength. So slightly stronger than our ground station. And... tend to relay up to Duna when you do the rescue at the same time. But there is a relay satellite already going to Duna. But the problem is our solar satellite is so far away. Well, let's not worry about it. At some point, it'll get there. I don't know. It's fine. We'll do something else later on. Is the relay satellite active? Yeah, it's not one that the antennas don't have to be extended. It is working as a relay satellite right now. But the problem is, it's just a 30J relay satellite. So, the distances are still insane. Yes, they stack. Well, they stack with other antennas. So if I put... These are 15G. If I put 2 of these on a thing, it'll be a 30G relay. But again, we have a 250G antenna on the ground here. And it's not reaching. So we would need a more powerful relay in orbit around Kerbin, or arguably a weaker, but still probably insanely strong relay somewhere in between Kerbin and that solar satellite. Shouldn't the ground station max reach Duna modded? Yeah, that's not. We're not talking about Duna here. So, at Duna, over here, we've got a signal. We didn't when they were at opposite sides, mostly because we had a pretty weak-ass antenna on our science station. So when Kerbin was on the opposite side of the sun from Duna, it couldn't quite reach there. But most of the time, it's perfectly fine. It totally works. The problem is, that's a lot farther away, right? It's working from here. This distance is what, like 5-6 times further away? So, if we had comm satellite, we need a comm satellite probably around here. Maybe around Dress. Although, again, it'll depend on where Dress is. If we could do a constellation of like maybe 4 in an orbit that's sort of in between Duna and Dress. And probably still have like maybe quad antennas. There's probably another tier of antenna that we're going to unlock as well. That'll make all the difference. And here's the thing. If this satellite here, which probably only has 1 antenna, if we put 2 antennas or 3 on this, but I think it's just got the 1, and that's the problem. I bet you it doesn't need much more. It just needs, because it's both of them put together, or not put together, I think it's multiplied in some way. So I think if we went from a single 15G antenna to like 2 15G antenna for 30, I think it would have reached, but we didn't. So it's fine. Doesn't matter. And yes, and we're not doing it in time to do the maneuver. Like we're not intercepting. So the maneuver's not going to happen this time around. Oh well. We'll do something else for money. All right, back over here. This duo. Wait, what? Duo rescue. Oh, I had the duo rescue is the one I started working on. There we are. All right. So we need this, and then we need to get to space. We still have the big orange tanks, huh? Let's do 3 of these. And then if we throw a mainsail on the bottom of this, and the staging is okay. Thrust weight is big. We can do more. Okay, that's easily enough to get into orbit. But you know what? Again, a bunch of our Delta V is like vacuum Delta V. So let's do this. 6,300, ridiculous amount. 3,500 on the initial ascent stage, which is going to be plenty. And then we can circularize with the next one. That's going to be all right. Let's throw some fins on here. I think these winglets over here. We do a trio. And we don't need any extra side boosters at all. It's the world's most boring looking spaceship, but it's gonna go up, and that's what matters. Toss one of those on here. Fins and Swedes. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I need it, but since we're gonna be piloting via probe, and it turns out having an antenna connection is pretty darn important, I'm going to just make sure we throw an extra one of these, there it is, communitrons. We don't have to extend it. It doesn't have any aerodynamic effects or whatever. We should have no problem. I think between the command pod and between the probodion itself, we'd probably have a signal, but let's do this. This used to be a little bit of a problem in older versions of Kerbal because the only ground station was the Kerbal Space Center itself, but now there's a series of ground stations, so we shouldn't ever be disconnected. So I think this is going to be okay. Blast the heat shield and 50 radars into orbit. I mean, and that's the thing. We could do some random throwaway crap. The whole reason we're doing that solar mission is to raise money, so I don't want to spend more money to fix that. At some point, it'll get corrected. Okay, this seems fine to me. We just have to make sure we don't bring any crew with us. Because we need the empty space. Looks good to me. All right. Now, we can use... Oh, hang on. We've got a bunch of science. Maybe I should use 2 of these. You know what? In fact, I will. It is actually fine, but it looks ridiculous. Although, you know, there's something appealing about it looking ridiculous. Let's offset this slightly so that we're not hitting the fins. Okay, 2 of those. But then the other thing I want to do is before we launch this, and remind me to double check that the seats are empty. If I go to R&D and here, because we have tons of science, we can get the Ascent liftoff, which can do a cool thing where it correctly rendezvous with something. And we're going to try it because we're using a probe core. We don't have a pilot. So our goal here is to do a hands-free liftoff using only automation and see if that works out. And put 2 of them on the same side. Oh, that would be a good idea too. Yeah, that would work. Oh, I've got to fix my staging now for my engines. Because what I want is I want to light the engines for a sec, make sure or the engine for a sec, make sure it's fully engaged. And then detach. So this, that, and then stage and that. Okay, that's looking all right. So if I go and set the Duna returner as a target, I believe, because what we want to do with this is this us over here? It is. We want to launch it such a way that when we approach here, it'll do the encounter. Oh, I think the Ascent module would need to know how long it takes us to reach this orbit, and it doesn't know. Yeah. Okay, so that's not going to work out, although we can have it launch us in the same orbit or maybe a little bit lower. Let's assume, okay, so when we launch, we're going to spend a lot of time lower than this. Now, at first, we're going to start straight up, but at some point, we're going to go sideways, and that should allow us to accelerate to this, which is on a longer loop. And if we intentionally go and aim for a lower orbit, an orbit below 117 kilometers, or, whatever it is at the periapsis, 113, right, we'll always be going faster. So what I'd like is the Duna returner to be a little bit ahead of us, and then we will launch, and we'll try to launch into a lower orbit. So let's do MechJeb. Let's go ahead and we'll turn on all the automatic. So auto deploy solar panels was on. We're just making sure auto deploy antennas, although there's nothing to deploy. Auto stage is going to be on. And then we're going to use the Ascent mode, which we haven't used yet, for completely hands-free launch. I'm going to request an altitude of 80 kilometers so that we're inside of this. I don't remember, but I feel like there were some more buttons that I would normally hit here. Force roll doesn't really matter. Limited angle of attack is always a good idea. Auto stage is on here. The auto deploy, auto warp for the circularization is fine. We'll do a 3-second launch countdown. So yeah, we could do a launch to rendezvous. But yeah, I don't want to do that. Because, yeah, it needs a timer for it. Do I just click engage autopilot or do I hit spacebar? I guess maybe engage autopilot. But again, I want this slightly ahead. We may have to do a revert if these buttons weren't set correctly, but we're going to learn a thing. And I don't mind it's fairly ahead because again, we should be catching up. And what I don't want to do is get to orbit and find out we're slightly ahead of this because then we're going to have to wait a ton of orbits for us to resync. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna hit spacebar. All right, there was no countdown. There might be another way to do it, but it did auto stage, which is great. The autopilot here is engaged. Right now, autopilot status, vertical ascent. It should change to gravity turn in a moment. Oh yeah, we could limit Q to reduce aerodynamic drag, but our thrust rate ratio isn't insane here. I don't think we're gonna experience ludicrous amounts of aerodynamic drag, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I wouldn't know what to put in. I mean, maybe 20,000 pascals is a sane option. I don't know. So yeah, we're in gravity turn mode. We'll see if it actually hits 80K. Right now, what are we looking at? Apoapsis is at 15K and climbing. Time to apoapsis 42 seconds and climbing. It is limited to a 5-degree angle of attack, so it's possible, yeah, it's going to be going too steep. Although maybe it'll throttle back at some point. We're going to see what happens. I would be looking to be much flatter here, especially since I'm not looking for a very high orbit. But I'm guessing it's probably going to start throttling back when it gets there. Because yeah, you can see it's never going too far outside of this nav ball, which is good for a safe ascent. But I think I probably could have changed, and I think it's green here because it's hitting its limit. I think I could have hit 10. In fact, I might go and adjust this right now. There you go. You can be 10 degrees off here. And already, look at it. It's closing in an 80, and it is just going to throttle down regardless. And then there's a little bit of aerodynamic drag, so it's going to maybe pull it down and restart it. But yeah, I could have probably put it at 10% for this particular model because it's pretty sleek and it should have good like gimbling and the fins for like sort of general authority control. But looking good. We're about to go into space. We're losing a tiny bit of apoapsis from the drag, but barely. So it might be slightly above 80K. So it should be planning. There we go. Autopilot coasting to circularization burn, which is apparently going to be a 1500 delta V circularization burn. That's how you can tell this was a pretty steep ascent, as opposed to flat. Solar panels have auto extended. That's good. We've actually got 18K delta V left in this stage, so we're going to circularize with this stage. We got tons of fuel. Is lander going the same direction? I was pretty sure. Yeah, it is. It's like I'm pretty sure I did check when we initially did our approach with the lander that we were going counterclockwise. But that would have been awkward if we weren't. There we go. I love how it's got the little, like, extra thrust on the side for some reason. Is there a real world engine that does something similar like this? Like they were rounding. They were trying to aim for, like, 100 and they got a 95 with the main engine, so they put a couple of 2.5s on the side, you know what I mean? Pre-burner exhaust. Turbo pump from the fuel front. All right, we are now properly orbital. We aren't in a particularly circular orbit. MechJeb, I'm disappointed. It's still trying to figure out this maneuver here. Okay, I'm just going to kill it off because it's being silly. Okay, so the next thing we would do is we would set the returner as a target. And then if we were doing this manually, we would figure out some place where if we go and add a maneuver and embiggen our orbit at some point, we'll get an encounter. There you go. And then by adding more or changing when this burn happens, we will rendezvous somewhere. I mean, really, I guess... No, there's a couple of different ways to do it. Really, the thing we do is we want to put in enough burn so that our apoapsis would get to about 115K, which is the orbit of the other one. And then we just want to shift when this is happening so that the timing works out. But because we don't have a pilot running this, we are going to attempt to just use MechJeb to do it and hope that it doesn't F it up. Didn't do a really clean ascent. I mean, it got us there. But we're going to do maneuver planner. So we want to do, it's not really a fine tune here. What we're looking for is, I mean, kind of a Hohmann transfer. Yeah. There you go. So it's going to do the burn right here. Possibly not even on this orbit. 34 minutes. Might be on the next orbit. You can see after it executes the burn, our closest maneuver is going to be over there. That's looking good. Let's execute. So it's turning to face the maneuver node. Very slowly, admittedly. That's because we didn't add any reaction wheels or RCS, and this is a big chunky boy to turn. But soon, we're going to drop this big chunky boy. In fact, I might drop it right after we're done this, because it's going to be too unwieldy to maneuver. So I think that's probably what's going to do. Oh, that's not a bad point. Probably easier to get the Duna returner to do the interception. Maybe. But, because especially if I want to be willing to do manual transfer, we might do the final maneuver with the other one. Because they both have lots of fuel. But better to over-design a mission than under-design it, right? So 1 second burn. But yeah, this is a mainsail engine, so 90 meters per second change is nothing. Closest approach is 0 kilometers, so accurate, you'll bump into each other. Yeah, so clearly have to do a bit of an adjustment there. I think I'll take over manual after this, as much fun as it is to do all computerized. We'll do some manual shenaniganry afterwards. Hey, killed the time warp because maybe it realized it was falling off of the maneuver node. Which is interesting. I don't know why that was the case. Like why it was drifting away during the time warp. There you go. It's re-aimed at it. Are you going to start the time warp again? MechJeb is having some issues. Will the fuel tank orbit there forever when you throw it away? Yes. Although every Kerbal part is loaded with explosives, which explains a lot. You can detonate it from the Kerbal Space Center, so we'll clean up the garbage. There we go. Facing the maneuver node again. Time warping again. And yeah, we're drifting off the maneuver node. I don't know why that might be. Because we're obviously not changing our orientation during a physics warp. It must be not the rotation of Kerbin, because it's adjusted for that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it slightly missed its maneuver timing because it's trying to align itself again. MechJeb, you're not doing a very good job today, buddy. All right, you're getting fired. Out of a cannon into the sun. All right, let's get rid of this big, chunky bit to our rear. So I'm going to go and face radial outwards, which is going to take a while. I guess I could physics warp. Our periapsis is inside the atmosphere now. MechJeb, my friend. But why? It's fine. We're not going to re-enter, but that is whacked. Okay, anyway, we're going to stage here. There we go. So we're losing a little bit. We're still in descent now, but nothing we can do about it. It's going to be fine. So we're going to drop down to about 66 kilometers, and then we're going to start to rise up again. Trusting computer. Why did we ever decide to do that? To be fair, I could have checked the what the maneuver node was predicting would happen afterwards. Okay, so that is us reaching bottom and now starting to climb. So again, we're in the atmosphere, but it's so thin up here, it's really not messing us up. I gotta say, this does look like a really cool vessel. This feels very retrofuturism vessel. Again, very similar, I mean, the wrong size, but very similar to the rocket Tintin used to get to the moon. Who installed ChatGPT on MechJeb? You're absolutely right. I made a mistake. Like, okay, but could you not? Still, yeah, we're still physics warping at ×4, and we're about to re-enter space. Okay, so our periapsis is still dipping into the atmosphere, but that's fine. Okay, our closest encounter now is 3 kilometers apart. Okay, I probably want it a little closer than that. Do we dare ask MechJeb to fine-tune the approach? I don't know. Yeah, fine-tune an approach to within 200 meters. What could possibly go wrong? You had any maneuver node for an encounter putting you in the atmosphere before. Good thing you caught before execution, yeah. Assume we've unplugged MechJeb by now. Well, we'll have it do this. I wonder if it has... It does have a match velocity with target. Because that's really the next step. We want to make sure our encounter is fairly close, and it is. Now, normally what we would have done is we would have tried a little normal, or not normal, a little radial, a little anti-radial, a little prograde, a little retrograde, and just watch as the separation number gets low. Although not to a 0.0, because we don't want to plan an actual collision. We just want to plan close. And then the next thing to do is just when you get close, we switch the nav ball over to target mode, and then we want to burn retrograde relative to the target. Now, this is going to drift as we get closer. So, but when we get right near the target, when we're approaching our closest separation, we want to burn retrograde to bring our target velocity down to 0. Let's quick save because I don't trust it. match velocities with target. At closest approach to the target, create and execute a node. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Collisions are a great way to match velocity? Sure. So yeah, right around here, which was our closest approach, right? The closest approach marker was around here. It's going to change after this maneuver, which is fair. But yeah, we should be quite close together. And then we're going to run retrograde relative to the target. There it is. Go for burn. There it is. Hit the brakes. Yes! Okay, MechJeb. You got... Well, I don't know about an F on the last one, but definitely at least a D. Well, I don't know. Any maneuver that puts you inside the atmosphere probably counts as a fail. All right, there. 130 meters per second apart. Let's get closer. I'll do this one manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn... Apparently the wrong direction. Oh, that's the wrong one. So over here. There it is. Whoop. Because, like, the camera angle didn't change. Your controls are relative here. I can't aim based on this. So, pointing towards this pink circle is towards the target. So, if I do that and give us just a little burn. There we go. Our pro-grade marker's on there. We're now approaching the target at 2 meters per second. So, now I'm just going to turn the other way. We'll get a little closer. And then I'll just kill off the relative speed. F+, technically correct, but you could have killed everyone potentially on board, yeah. Which is very AI, like, not taking into account all the different parameters. Essentia keeps breaking AI, asking it for, like, food recipe stuff with some dietary restrictions. It gets so confused. I mean, we didn't have to get closer, but for the convenience of the Kerbals. What? The human said to survive? Yeah, exactly. We don't have docking ports on either one of these, which is okay. That's not what we're here for. All right, let's call that close enough. And there. Now we're slightly drifting apart, but all good. Okay. Let's quick save. Switch vessels. All right. EVA. I don't think we've got any science left in here. Oh, we do. Take one. Oh, that's the thing we couldn't transmit. Let's go, Penny! Yeah, just spacewalk transfer. We could have docked with, like, the claw or something, but we wouldn't have been doing a normal dock anyway, so it made no real difference one way or the other. Oops, wrong way. Up. Grab. And come aboard. Excellent. Swap vessels. EVA. Remember to turn out the lights. Make sure the stove's not on. Thank you. Detach. You'll go the other way around. Whee! Such a pretty game with a few visual mods. Honestly, it's not that bad looking in vanilla either. And grab. And board. And there we go. All right. So now we just have to deorbit, which just means... Oh, it's like, why can't I put my retrograde? Because not the right mode. So we're going to do this. Now, the one thing is, I was going to say, if we face retrograde... Okay, we're fine. What we wanted to make sure was that a retrograde burn didn't happen to coincide with being aligned to the Duna returner. That would be bad. I mean, geez, we still have 2,500 meters. Like, we used basically no fuel on this. Super overkilled this, but I didn't know... We might have been doing some really inefficient rendezvous things, so I really overkill our fuel on any mission where I have to rendezvous with something, because every now and again we've run out partway through. So all we got to do is burn retro for like basically no time, and we're already coming home. Let's go to... It might be a little low. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, no, it's going to be fine because we've got such a slow orbital velocity. Sure, it's probably fine. Let's quick save. let's do the thing where we go, so we go radio plus. And dump so much fuel, it's ridiculous. All right. And then our next move is just going to be to go surface, retrograde, which will keep our butt into the wind. Now, this shape should be aerodynamically stable. I'm sorry, is there science? Yeah, sure, we can EVA here. EVA, grab that. Contemplate the serene beauty of Kerbin's deserts and long for solid ground. Forward. Let's go. Oh, we're back in target mode. There we go, surface retrograde. And we'll time warp, but the time will get canceled when you enter the atmosphere. One day, we'll do the high altitude EVA report. But these two deserve to live. They've been gone for so long. Let's do the physics warp again. Physics warping in an atmosphere has never led to anything going wrong. Ever. Send a grabber on one of your next missions, siphon fuel. Or ditch them. Yeah, maybe. Well, okay, yeah, I don't know. Well, no, the one that's coming in here is on a return trajectory. But this one that's in space has something like 800 meters per second delta V, and I suppose it would be possible for us to go and grab that. But happy faces. Yeah. We're doing it. We're coming home. The ablator is ablating as per design. I'm going to stop the physics warp for a second here. Don't want anything really weird to happen. We've had some weird luck. Hey, Dick Falcon. No, this is KSP1. But with mods. So it looks amazing. Should be no mods that change gameplay. Look at that trail. Should be no mods that change gameplay. Just visuals. Oh, I turned on... There we go, the aerodynamics. And then if we go... Sonic boom! Sonic boom! Hadouken. KSP with mods. KSP3. Yeah, we didn't add anything crazy. None of the colonization stuff, none of the procedural parts stuff. And it still wants us to do an EVA. We're definitely not EVAing now. That would be extra crispy EVA time. Vulcan punch. MechJeb, the automation changed the gameplay, which we're using. At first, MechJeb was just, we need a delta V calculator, it doesn't suck. And these buttons are slightly more convenient for me to hit. The automation does change it, and that's true. So that would be the more... I mean, we didn't have MechJeb for a bit, because I was just trying to use the built-in delta V calculator, and it sucks! I guess I could have installed Kerbal Engineer Redux if I just wanted a better delta V calculator. But I really like using MechJeb for automating the satellite missions, because it feels better for me. It feels more realistic. Even though sometimes it does a bad thing. Alright! We can turn off SES because I'm going to say this should be dynamically stable, and it is. Yeah, just going to hold butt into the wind. Quick save. There you go. We're now in low atmosphere. So the EVA request went away because we had already done that. Just waiting for the chutes to turn safe. You instant. This is crafting EVA. Those speeds don't get flying out. So in the really thin air, so you can do it. You can skim the upper atmosphere and EVA and get back in really quick. But you got to do it like above 65K for sure. Like at 68, 69K, get out, do it, done. All right, chutes ready. We're still slowing down a little bit, barely. We'll go and do the pre-deploy on these bad boys. I mean, they didn't even slow us down that much, actually. They're bleeding off some now. And then they'll do a full extend. I don't know if they're all for 1,000 yet. They're all at 1,000. We are landing into the ocean, so that should be very nice. And then once they fully deploy, I can... You know what? I won't drop the heat shield. I don't know if we're going to get much return value back, because it's like a used heat shield. But I don't think we need to drop the weight for any reason. This is us returning from Mars. Yeah, or from Duna. Yes, Beard of Blarney. The Beard of Blarney. The Bard of Blarney. I do like the Beard of Blarney, though. Yeah, heat shield. Slightly used. It's fine. There we go. Oh, those G-forces. Wow. There you go. So I could dump it now, but... Reason, let's go and... Physics warp. Physics warp with parachutes out has never caused anyone ever problems ever. Apparently there's a mod that will that you can install that will automatically stop the physics warp at like the 1000K when the chutes are about to fully extend, restart it, and then stop it again right before you touch the surface, which is usually what we do manually. Hey, there's a shadow. So they return home, not on the ship they left with. Ship they left with is still in orbit. And they made it back alive. Look at that! Amazing! I wonder what the ribbons are going to look like. Look at this. Okay. So they're going to have more or less identical ribbons over here. Water for splashdown of vessel in the water. Award landing on Kerbin. Sure. Flying horizontally at Mark 3 below 30,000 meters. Yeah. That's not what we care about. EVA ribbon, sure. Research. Ike EVA ribbon. Dangerous EVA for executing EVA while not in a stable orbit. We're on an escape velocity. Endurance. Awarded for spending more than 500 Kerbin days spent on a single mission. And something getting cut off, maybe returning home. Awarded for EVA in zero atmosphere around Duna. Awarded for being the first Kerbal on EVA in a stable orbit around Duna. Awarded for being the first Kerbal orbiting around Duna, which will be shared. Awarded for continuously spending 20 seconds, 20 minutes in EVA? I guess 20 seconds? I don't know. That's not very long. Maybe EVA longer? I don't know why you would. Awarded for planting a flag on Duna. Awarded for being the first Kerbal landing on Duna. Again, they will be shared. Awarded for being the first Kerbal entering the atmosphere of Duna. First Sun Orbit ribbon. Ooh. Moon Sphere of Influence ribbon. Awarded for entering the Sphere of Influence of the Moon. Right. We did a bit of a flyby there. Amazing. And then we can go ahead and recover these little bits. So good. So grand. So much science. Not much money. Which really just tells me we have to do more of these contracts. I don't know if we could do these contracts to regenerate. We could do the surface outpost. Moonstone. I mean, it's going to be fairly expensive just to build these. This is the mission we have running. But apparently we're going to have some trickiness to generate it. What was this one? Oh, yeah. Park two vessels next to each other. Dock two vessels on around Kerbin. Shit, if I had put a grabber, we could have completed that. I didn't need the chute in the middle. I could have just put a grabber and we could have latched on and completed this. I mean, it's not for much money. Plane time for exploring Kerbin. Exploring. Looks like explosion. You know what? We could build a plane just for funsies. Because a plane is the best way to kill off Kerbals. Nothing kills more Kerbals than attempting to make airplanes. Altitude flight. Yep. Sounds good. Bigger landing gear. Different science things. Let's make a plane for fun. So we're going to need a new pilot. We need a test pilot. So we're going to open up the draft Twitch viewers. It's going to cost 100K, which clearly I don't need to do. So I think I might cheat in 100K funds back. Draft a pilot. Congratulations, Quebecois. Quebecois. You have been drafted as a pilot. I'm sure you won't die. But yeah, let's cheat our money back in. There you go, plus 100K. There we are. Okay, let's do this. In case you need support. Fuel's expensive. I have beans tonight. Might have some gas. Hey. Let's start with like the Mark 1 cockpit size. Right? Rather than make the cool looking ship, let's just start with this. So, oh right, and there's still the issue. Like if we do filter by resource and we want liquid fuel, but there's no filter for just liquid fuel. Which is annoying. Because these contain liquid fuel and oxidizer. So it's not actually helpful. So I guess in this case, what we might just want to do is like the size 1 profile. Oh no, because that includes everything of the size. Alright, so I guess I do just come over here. And let's sort by mass. We got these. Do we make a jet engine for the first time? I mean, why not, right? There's the Juno basic jet engine. Weasley turbofan. Ah, there we go. Panther. Afterburning turbofan. I don't think we get the Rapier engines. I think we need a higher level of tech for that. Those are the ones that can switch from air breathing to rocket mode. So I think that's the fastest jet engine we've got. Wings. Should we do, like, wings at the rear with the canards up front? It looks cool. It's arguably maybe a little harder to balance. We can do delta wings in the back. Canards up front. These are control surfaces, right? Yeah. We'll check center of lift and all that later. And then we need a tail, although this has to be a control surface tail. Oh, we also need some control surfaces on this. So we throw some elevons in here. Here. There it is. A little bit of that. That's a control surface. I don't think this one is. No. Ooh, we could go with twin tails. Or even these. I think we really just need the one. Is what we're looking for in this case.
It's whiskey and
this
chocolate.
looks airplaney. Whiskey and chocolate.
Hey, I revisited KSP thanks to this stream and the beautiful mods.
Hey!
Currently Jebediah is stuck on the moon because I miscalculated DV, but I'm sure he'll be fine. We packed snacks.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no problem then. It's all groovy. And shouldn't the control surface be on the outside of the wing? That's true. Over here, you need less to do more. Because these are going to be used for roll. Because lift should mostly be from the canards. And then yaw, of course, from here. Although these might get involved a little bit in lift. And we could control it, right? We could turn off some of these for different things. It also might be worth tweaking the angles. But yeah, we will see. The thing is, on the outside of the wing, we probably want to restrict the angle. We'll see. All right. Let's get some landing gear on here. I don't think we need... Yeah, we don't need extra large. I don't think... Large is pretty... I think medium might be all we need. And... turn off that. Turn on this. I might clip this inside. Because it's quite tall there. I think this is still hanging a little lower than there, which is okay, because we might have a slight pitch up on the ground, and that would be fine. Now, let's check center of mass overlay. And then center of lift. We want the lift to be behind center mass, because we want it to have a natural little nose down inclination. Right? So that's good this way. Although arguably maybe too much. Maybe what we want to do is bring it up a little bit. But yeah, if you do natural nose up, then what happens is your thrust just sort of uncontrollably flips over backwards. This will also change a little as the fuel goes, but the fuel should drain from all tanks evenly, so I don't think our thrust... Oh, right, we need air intakes for the jet engine. Thank you very much for that. Is that under aerodynamics? I think it is. We can't do the front nose intake on this one, unfortunately. So I guess we're just going to put a little dorsal intake over there. Now, this has no payload or anything, but it should fly like the Dickens. Flies like the Dickens. Now, Dickers? Dickens. Now, I don't know what a Dickens flies like, but I'm sure this is fine. We could put some safety chutes on here because that's always a good emergency button. If for some reason you have a trouble landing, then you just pop the safety chute. But this is our first experimental plane. We're going to put Quebecois in there. All right. This is going to be overkill air intake. I don't know if there's like a way to like know, you know, how much air intake you need for this. Part of it depends on like these numbers change depending on your speed and different things. Oh, lights. You know what? You're right. We should totally put in some nav lights in here. Let's put. Oh, I'm not in symmetry mode, so let me put symmetry mode on and grab the rotate tool. There we go. Although, hold on, if it's in symmetry mode, can I set different colors? I think they'll end up being the same color, won't they? Yeah, I don't think this occludes the air. I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe a couple white lights is fine. But yeah, really we should have green on the right. And then red on the left. Yeah, they're linked. And I don't think it's annoying. I don't know if there's any way to break it. Does right-click break symmetry? No. I mean, I guess what I can do is just be like, okay, fine. I'll place it here. Unsymmetrically. And then alt-click to make a copy. Place it here. Oops. And it's pretty close, I'm going to say. I'll turn that one red. And then... white light. You know what? I'm just going to put those two in there. All right. This seems fine. This seems fine. 71,000 meter per second delta V. But only in the atmosphere. Airplanes, killing more Kerbals than anything else ever. To be fair, it's not a flight simulator. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. We'll put SAS on for just general stability assistance. Oh, we never upgraded the runway, so it's going to be a little bumpy. Actually, you know what? I wonder, the Delta V stats? No, I guess what I like is this. That's what I like. Okay. Pitch up. Whoop! Oh, that worked really well. But yeah, we can see, like, the thrust numbers will change. Oh, it's dropping a little, which is interesting as we're rising here. If we go horizontal and our speed increases, our effective airspeed, the flow should be going up. Yeah, there's more airflow. Well, I don't know if we'll be able to go supersonic. All right, let's do an aileron roll. Right, not a barrel roll or something else. Let's test the G-force. I think that's 10 Gs right there. I think that's what that line is. Quebecois may have had a little bit of a blackout there, but it's fine. Wow. And nothing's being ripped off, so that's good. What I like about the no payload planes is they do tend to just feel really good. Okay, let's gain a little altitude, and then we'll try a loop-de-loop. Okay, the aircraft approach in Autoland on MechJeb. Man, I don't know how much I trust that, but we'll see. What's nice is, like, we're going up and we're gaining speed at the same time. Hey, we gonna try loop-de-loop? Pitch down for a tiny bit more speed. We should really have some more altitude first. All right, pull up hard. Are we gonna stall? I probably didn't need to pull up quite so hard. That's not the engine dying, that's just me zooming out. Whee! All right. Oh, right, this is gonna end engine with an afterburn. How do we toggle mode? Yeah, baby. So our Delta V halved itself. But yeah, if we need to do a supersonic, I guess this is the way to do it. There, look at this. We're like, what, 30 degrees pitch? What, 20 degrees pitch up and accelerating? And what's the speed of sound? Somewhere around here, right? Did we just go Mach? That's not the... That's just the engine mod I'm using. But, I mean, theoretically, we might not be able to see it, but maybe there's a supersonic shockwave, and that's when I keep breaking through right around here. I like the little aerodynamic effects there. We're gonna do a Tony Stark. It's our first test flight. We should be cautious. No, let's set a new altitude record. We're about to hit Mach 2 while climbing. 10 kilometers. Thrust is dropping quickly here because I suspect our air intake is dropping a lot. The atmosphere is getting thinner. Although we're still accelerating. There's science. Oh my god, we could EVA. Okay, now we're losing speed. Alright, I'm gonna toggle out of the afterburn mode. Oh, I think our engine just capped out completely doing that, actually. Oh yeah, there's no airflow anymore. That's okay. Pitch down. Wow, we are far from the airfield. Boom, boom. Science! Let's get out. Let's EVA. Oh, it's trying to restart. There you go. Does Kerbal have a parachute? No idea. It doesn't matter. Parachutes. Where we're going, we don't need parachutes. This would be a little bit better with a joystick to have like a little bit of control over like how much rotation I'm giving this, because right now it's mostly just all or nothing unless I'm sort of tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It'd be a bit of a problem if we had a design where the wings could be ripped off. I think the KSC's over there. Guess what we could have done? If you get out and put down a flag, then I think it'll keep a little marker for you. Caps lock for soft controls. Well, that is a little gentler. Thank you. I forget about that. Mach 1 is 344 meters per second. I had to look it up. And of course, that would be probably at sea level, right? All right, let's go home. Let's put the afterburner back on. Whee! I think that's us over there. Oh, and temperature. Alt F4 for super soft controls. Yep. Oh, did Mr. Kerbals return from Duna? Yeah, Rodloff. Caps lock back on here. I mean, it's still pretty crazy. But what I could do is I could go and change some of these. Alright, well, we're going supersonic again. For the return. That's going to be a lot of speed to bleed off. Turn off the afterburners. We're still accelerating. What does close intake button do? Shuts off the air, which will kill our engine. Flame out. Flame on! We install any brakes on this one? Brakes? Don't need no stinking brakes. That is the KSC, right? It must be. Got that atmospheric haze, though. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a flight simulator stream soon. It's been way too long since I've played it. Oh! I think the Space Center's over that way. Well, we just follow the coast until we find it. Can I set a target? Activate navigation. Is that built into vanilla? Is that part of, like, the 1.6 shit? Wow. If you tried DCS, I have. I'm not a fan, personally, of combat flight sims, although I do like some of the historical ones. But yeah, that's not what I like. The commercial flight sims. That's why I like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I still would like a visual tag, but having it on nav ball at least is helpful. Man, we went freaking far! Holy crapola! But yeah, we're in VFR. Find the coast, follow the coast. Yeah, there, Beacon Eater just said the same thing. We're VFR only. Yeah, no VOR nodes. Man, I miss VOR navigation. I mean, obviously GPS is like 1,000 times better for everything, especially like in real life. But for flight simmy stuff, as we're about to hit Mach 2. For flight simmy stuff, the VOR navigation is so entertaining. I think we're about to hit Mach 3. And that's the airfield there. Yeah. Let's buzz the tower at Mach 3. We might shatter a few windows. Really shouldn't be doing the turn with my rudder here. I lost some speed. Oh my god, am I getting overheat effects? Overheat, overheat, overheat. All right. Yeah. We could install Ferrum Aerospace if we really wanted to do some proper flying. So our engines are just on idle right now. Just trying to make some fairly extreme maneuvers here to burn off speed via drag. Someone calculate a 3-degree slope for our landing. What do you think our landing velocity should be? I wonder how slow this could maneuver. Like, how slow we could go and still have maneuverability. If facility damage was turned on, it should actually damage if you did Mach 3. Yeah, facility damage... No, I guess I turned it off because I like didn't want to accidentally bomb the KSC and like lose all of mine. It would be kind of funny though, and we could always cheat in the money to rebuild it. Is there a good shorthand for multiplying meters per second and getting kilometers per hour? Like, what's the ratio? So you want to divide the meters by 1,000, but then, yeah. Times 3.6? So at 100 meters per second, we're going 360 kilometers an hour? Cool. Mach 2 sounds like safe landing velocity. How quick does a shuttle go when it lands? Because I think it lands fairly quickly. They use very long runways. And it is on a pure glide for the descent. So I guess there's no go-around for the space shuttle, huh? Right, that makes sense. Times 3,600 divided by 1,000, so multiply by 3.6. All right, let me go throttle up to like 10% here. We've been on a pure glide for a little bit. I don't know if we've gone quite far enough out. Oh, we're accelerating. Jeez, I really don't want to accelerate. We might be able to do a pure glide in. Okay. Really should be at 90 degrees and then complete the turn. I want to be stable as long as possible. I mean, okay, so Quebecois has survived the first aspect. Well, actually, the first two aspects of a plane in Kerbal. Takeoff, which is remarkably tricky, because a lot of times your plane is just unstable and just like veers off randomly on the runway due to something about like the wheel dynamics being a little bit wonky in this game. And then in flight, like the plane didn't rip itself apart. But landings, there's a reason a lot of times I just cheese out, throw a couple of parachutes on here, and do a parachute-based landing. Because anything else is kind of asking for trouble. Alright, we're at 1/3 thrust. We're still bleeding off a little speed. I am nose up. I think I need a little bit more thrust. Yeah, prepare to pay respects. Let's turn a little here. Still doing my turn too early. Most I was looking at speed. Okay, now we're gaining speed. You go to 1/3. Well, actually, hold on. Not while I'm doing turns and stuff, because that's a good way to bleed off a lot of speed and altitude. We are pretty aligned. As I say, as I drift further off. Man, it is... The controls in Kerbal are not very plane friendly. Maybe I'll hit control lock or caps lock. Okay, let's deploy our landing gear. Oh shit, and our speed's gone crazy again. And the camera alignment can be a little misleading. I don't know if there's a way to lock your camera to be aligned with your ship. We're still accelerating? I mean, admittedly we're descending, but still, jeez. Maybe our plane is too aerodynamic. I was hoping for a little bit more drag with the gears out. I think we're coming in high. We're definitely coming in fast, especially if I'm descending. I feel like we're drifting to the right for some reason. Jeez. Well, we're gonna land. Just not exactly where I wanted to. What am I getting motion blur for? We landed. A little short. There you go. Hey, any landing you can walk away from, right? This is actually shockingly good for any flight on Kerbin, especially given the fact... What's the deferred thing that came up? Especially since we'd never flown this plane before, and it turns out it runs beautifully. Is there brake lights? Oh my god, there's brake lights. Oh, there's no taxiways. Although maybe we can treat that as a bit of a taxiway. Let's turn off the brakes. Oh, the steering's enabled on the rear wheels, which we might want to turn off just for some stability thing. Does the tower have a number for you to call? Well, this is the plane. I have a number of pants that are needed. There you go. Remarkably okay. Now, what kind of badges did we get for Quebecois over here? Landing on Kerbin. G-Force 13 ribbon. Awarded for withstanding an acceleration of at least 13 Gs for 3 or more seconds, I assume. 13 Gs. And the Mach 2 ribbon. Mach 2, oh, we didn't actually hit Mach 3. Damn it. I guess we would have needed to hit almost 1,000 meters per second to do that. That is crazy how well that worked. Yeah, Kerbals are tough little guys. They have a lot of blood pressure. They can handle some extreme G-forces. And maybe they're even in a G-suit. I don't know. Oh, 1029 would have been needed. Okay. I mean, and a big question is like how long the G-forces have, because I mean, you're not going to black out or red out either way at G-forces that are, 10 plus Gs if they're only lasting for like 1/10 of a second. But if it lasts more than that, because it's like pushing all the blood out of your brain, or apparently more dangerous, into your brain. Duna relay satellite time. It might be. It's also time for us to end. We do have a maneuver. Tell you what, we'll go ahead and do this maneuver. Well, that's interesting. F5 doesn't just do the no-name quick save if you're landed here. Oh, right. Oh, right. The Duna relay satellite. So this is the maneuver for our solar one. So that's not going to happen. So I guess I may as well just actually delete that other maneuver. Because it's not going to happen. This is our Duna thing, which is going to encounter Duna soon. So I think we can probably just go and do the time warp to that. I survived G-Force 214. Because like when a F1 driver crashes, they have sensors in their helmets and stuff like that that automatically trigger if the G-force is above a certain point, and it requires a medical visit to the hospital for concussion checks and things like that, no matter what.
Pay attention.
And it's like really high, like 50 Gs or something ridiculous, because it is like momentary, right? So the concern there isn't, oh, you're going to pass out from the G-force of the blood being like knocked out of you. The concern is, did it like mash your brain against your skull and give you a concussion? It's Dr. Quill. Okay. There you go. Duna satellite, 305. And I guess what we're going to do is just ask MechJeb, would you kindly maneuver node planner? I want you to change the apoapsis. It doesn't really need to be circular. If anything, I wanted a higher orbit than this. I'm actually debating, like, what if we have it at a higher altitude than Ike? Where did the Ike go? There it is. Which is 2.7 million meters. Or 27, or let's say 2,800 kilometers, which is what this is. So let's say, what if I ask for like a 3,000 kilometer apoapsis? And then we'll raise the periapsis as well to be in a big circular one. So if I create the node and check that it looks sane, and it does look sane. 415 delta V, which we don't have enough in this stage, but we have a bunch in the next one. That looks good. I think I like that. And that'll be the end of today's stream. Wednesday, I'm not sure what Wednesday is going to be yet. Saturday, high chance maybe of being Dwarf Fortress. I think it's time. Wednesday, I'm not sure yet. We might do a one-off. We might start some Civ. It's been so long since we've streamed Civ. A return to the good old days. We're going back to Hoi 4. I do want to play some more Hoi 4. I don't think Wednesdays. I don't think this Wednesdays. We are going to raise the periapsis after. I'm going to circularize at this new number. In fact, yeah. What I'll do is at the apoapsis, I will then raise the periapsis to match. And yeah, we are nicely polar. Well, we're a little off of polar. Although if I wanted to be perfectly polar, I would do that after I embiggen my... Oh, it's not auto-staging. Oh, the game crashed. After I embiggen my orbit, then we would want to do any normal, anti-normal stuff. Put ourselves completely polar. This isn't the one that had no signal. The one that had no signal is the one that's in orbit of the sun. That's quite far away. And also, this one has more antennas on it, so it's better off. So, do that, and then we're going to change the periapsis, and we're going to make it match 3,000 kilometers. What's my apoapsis at? Yeah, it's because it was... Okay. I guess I could have said circularize or something at the apoapsis. But same. You know, we might intersect. We might need to go a little bit bigger than this. Because I don't know how big the sphere of influence of Ike is. And it could fling us in an awkward way. Could be entertaining. We got lots of fuel to make our orbit bigger than this. Maybe I should have gone for like 3,500 kilometers. I think Ike's quite small. I don't think its sphere of influence is terribly large. It's possible on one of the Oh! Maybe it's a little closer. Does it not have a circular orbit? You can complain because I think it's not going to let us do that yet. Because the periapsis, yeah. Okay, so we just say something like, sorry, my bad, change this to 3,500. Actually, we're pretty circular now. For the moment, it doesn't matter where I do this burn. I'm going to do one manually, even though I said it. So we're going to aim for 3.65. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to change our periapsis to 36500, which technically, oops, 3650, which is technically just below the apoapsis, so this should be legal. There you go. 12 meters per second burn. Barely anything. But yeah, we'll go higher up to hopefully not have any Ike problems on any of our orbits. And if it is, well, as long as it's high enough up, it won't move it too much. Although if it happens again and again and again, eventually it might fling us off or eventually pull us into, you know, it'll redirect us and we'll smack into Duna. But there we are. So it's not perfectly polar, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, it has so much delta V left over for any other adjustments I want to make. Again, because the antennas are so strong, I could go taller, higher up. But seems okay. You know, fix it for your sanity. Oh, you want to be perfectly polar? Sure. Change inclination. New inclination, perfectly 90 degrees. Whoa. Am I? Oh, no, it's there. Okay. The angle I was at, it looked wrong. But yeah, 27 meters per second delta V to make the adjustment. Because we're not that far off, but more importantly, it's because we're quite high up. Higher up you are, it's cheaper. Again, there's some funny math where sometimes, like, where it can be cheaper to embiggen your orbit, make the inclination change, than reshrink your orbit. That relay won't connect to the solar sat? Well, it depends on where they are, right? Because you got to remember. So the solar satellite is here. This is closer to Kerbin, but is it closer enough? I guess we could check. Maybe the closeness is enough, but this is only 30 G strength versus the 250 here, so almost certainly makes no difference. Indeed, no. This is the thing. It's closer, but it's only about 10% the strength of Kerbin itself. So yeah, it's not going to have that kind of reach. Can't interact with this thing. I needed to do this with more antennas. In fact, I could send a secondary mission that's exactly the same and pack like 3 antennas on here. And in fact, just 2 would probably do it. We'd have to do some math. And there are charts like this is basically, we're basically as distant as Joule. So if I go to Reddit/r/Kerbal Space Program, they have in the sidebar a chart pinned. So the delta V map. I'm not looking at the delta V part. What I'm looking at is for Joule. Where's Joule in this? Right over there. L3C5. So L3 is this tracking station level which we got. So we need a level 3 tracking station, which we have. And we need the class 5 relay to be able to reach at this distance. I don't know what relay class we have for it to count. Like, I don't know what the class numbers are. And we only have 1 antenna on there. This might be a class 3 and we only have 1. It's possible if we put 2, we would have reached. Something like that. But we don't. If I go, let me break this and then return to the Space Center. I don't know if we can tell the class. Or if it's just an unofficial designation. So yeah, this is the relay antenna we're using with the 15G. Oh, we can see the distance. So this with a class 3 ground station, which we've got, reaches 61 gigameters. So billion meters. Isn't that basically where we're at? So we're just shy. We're like rounding errors shy, if I'm reading that correctly. In fact, if Kerbin was here, we might have a signal right now. Definitely not Duna. Even if Duna was perfectly placed, it's not strong enough. I think we're just barely out of range. C'est la vie. You know what? Maybe on the next orbit, Kerbin will be in a better place. And yeah, if we just sent not even 2 like 15G antennas, if we just put like 1 extra little baby antenna on there, it probably would have reached. That's perfectly Kerbal, not gonna lie. Yeah, we just crossed the threshold. I think that's exactly it. We just barely don't have a signal. Slightly undershot the engineering. I think there's another set of antennas. Yeah, this one here. Look at this, 100G. So, yeah. But we need money to be able to increase this. So we have to complete more of the missions to get some cash money or things like that. Is next Monday going to be more Kerbal Monday, or are we going to do something else? That's a bit of a question mark. Wednesday might be Civ. Maybe, am I convincing myself to play Civ and do a return? I think we might. Kind of feel like it might be Civ 5. I'm not sure. You guys will remind me how to play, right? It's been a while. And then, yeah, I think Saturday will probably be Dwarf Fortress. No promises, because it might turn out there's some other new game that I want to play. Could be a last-minute sponsored thing. All these things could happen. We'll see. We're going to go and raid a Kiss for Luck channel where Rhino is playing Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. A game I've tried to play a few times and it didn't quite like lock in with me, but I got to give another try because it would be lovely to play. But if you want to see some Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, then go ahead, raid a Kiss for Luck's channel. And I'll see you on Wednesday for something. Bye-bye, everyone.